but cheer for him at this point.
Yeah, it's very impressive runs from all of these players so far. And I know Admirable will be Tyler, and then Definition and Algeru?
Oh,
is that how you say it?
At the time, very understandably, to practice and prep for this tournament as much as I'd like, and so he brought the true quad aggro. A lot of people are bringing like
only in this tournament, his tournament, progress in 2018, but also his stream grew because he streamed a lot and he was good. So that there's reasons for that as well. But let's just get straight into the game. We've talked long enough. There isn't about a Hearthstone board in front of us. Let's go. Cocosasa versus Tyler. Initial match number 1. Hunter versus this even shaman, and I guess we get to see the answer to my question. Is it going to be good enough? With that opening hand, Gia? Maybe.
Yeah, that looks pretty dang good. As for Even Shaman, it is not able to go first, and if it doesn't get the Merc Spark Eel, it often relies on just survive until I can Hagatha. But Tyler is going first, and oh, he's raising his hand. Looks like there's a bit of an issue going on here, but the presence of Merc Spark Eel is always really, really strong here. He can also just play Primal Fin to try and get that going because none of the options allow him to trade over the Dire Maul immediately.
Yep, we'll see what the query is, but for now, if Tyler keeps playing, we'll keep watching.
Yep.
No matter what happens, I'll still want to talk about this game. So, the Primal Fin going down. Tyler just shoring his gameplay up depending on what the problem is, but I do believe he's talking to an admin now, so we'll get that one sorted. But yeah, I don't know, the Even Shaman versus the Hunter can be a little bit difficult, but with an opening like this, it seems to be pretty good. You at least have stuff to fight with these early minions, such as Dire Maul.
And a very relevant thing is that Hunter also doesn't have the best ways of clearing off wide boards outside of Rexxar. And usually by that turn, it's a little bit too late. And crucially, the best way that Hunter has of putting on pressure, which is Spellstone, if a wide board remains for the Shaman, they just have to stick a Flame Tongue Totem, and then suddenly all these little minions can be trading up into the wolves like nothing.
Right, and we see something similar-ish here as well. Tyler going for the Direwolf instead of just, say, Merc Spark Eel, because Merc Spark can actually just get more value by killing off Razor Maws, killing off just plain Hyenas and other stuff like as you mentioned. But the addition of the Healing Totem on board means some of these minions are going to stick around for quite a while if it's not dealt with quickly. But the Timberwolves from Cocosasa doing it again.
Yeah, Healing Totem was really, really quite a backbreaker for Cocosasa there. In the aggro matchups, it's just so much value when everything depends on all these little minions trading on board. Just one thing surviving and getting to value trade again is super relevant, just like in the old Zoo mirrors.
Okay, so Spellstone for Cocosasa does have the double secrets, and he may just commit and say, look, you attack into these, take the Wandering Monster, take the Freezing Trap. Whatever happens, I'm dropping 4 3/3s on the board next turn, and then I'll ask you to deal with it. But Tyler, isn't running out of gas anytime soon. Now there's choices between Corpse Taker or double Merc Spark, or even just Merc Spark Earthen Might to buff one of these minions on the board. For example, the Primal Fin Totem can keep churning out minions if it's not vulnerable to Flanking Strike, for example.
Yeah, even the Corpse Taker is tempting, as you mentioned. Like, just because you know it's going up into a Spellstone turn and the Tauren doesn't trade very well into it, Tyler is just not going to take any risks, so this is still a super strong board. It is just going to be annoying to deal with the Spellstone because everything's 2-3, and you'd rather them be 3-4 in an ideal world, but something like Flame Tongue Totem could change all of that.
Yeah, I was going to say the Healing Totem would have been nice there just to keep this chain gang going, but the 1-1 actually is also good because it adds that additional 1 point of damage to beat the Spellstone, so this is looking not too bad. 2 Wolves died to the 2 attack minions and 2 1-attack minions as well, so Tyler keeping up definitely, and Sergeant Commander can pick off another one as well if he wants.
It's true. Tyler, though, if he wants to trade away the entire board, will be giving up essentially his entire board, which feels really bad. It could be that he might just want to trade away the low health minions, everything under 3, because of the threat of Rexxar approaching, and then kind of force Cocosasa to do the rest of the trades for him. He can just continue developing with Corpse Taker or Argent Commander, as you mentioned.
This is looking pretty good. Just Tyler, as you quite rightly said, just setting up against a Rexxar just in case. It is one of the few tools that Hunter has that can beat an even shaman board when they've already got ahead early game.
It's true. Tyler also, at the back of his head, needs to be thinking about things like positioning in case the Flame Tongue comes off the top, in which case I'm not sure about having the Primal Fim close to the middle. I understand Corpse Seeker being far away because you don't want to trade that into anything. You want to let it keep pushing face. But with the draw of Alakir, I just noticed it doesn't actually have too many buffs on it.
Right. The Wind Fury there being pretty nice, just being able to clear up the 2 minions, pretty good. And Cocosasa even chucking in the kill command now, get rid of that Primal Fin, and suddenly, with the help of the Spellstone the previous turn, you get to see that Cocosasa's even this board state up, and now it's really on Tyler as to what he can do here. He might just have to chuck the Argent Commander in and just say, yeah, he better peel the Divine Shield, but at least this gets traded off, unless he keeps the Divine Shield anyway.
Phase, right? Yeah, I mean,
yeah, okay.
I think with Flame Tongue and Alakir in hand, that is kind of a go signal for Tyler. And Cocosasa there, I mean, he seems so far behind on board, but just chucking out the kill command was super necessary there because that Primal Fin could have taken a value trade into the Crackling Razor Maw and generated another 1-1 to value trade again with other things, or trade up rather.
Interesting play there though. Animal Companion, if it was Huffer or Misha, turns out very good. With the secrets especially, because the minion-based secrets. But Leok would have been pretty upsetting, but Tyler now just going crazy.
Yep.
This Fire Elemental allows to an extra 3 damage, but with Alakir, it's 6 damage anyway, so unless Rexar comes down right now or some kind of way to put a stopgap, he's not going to survive. But the issue with Rexar is, can you Rexar and fully clear the board?
He can Rexar Snake Trap. Snake Trap doesn't do anything if he's going face. Between Rexar and the Wolf trade, only the Flame Tongue will remain. He can choose to trade into the Flame Tongue instead. Although if you expect no charge minions, technically leaving up the Flame Tongue is less damage than leaving up the Argent Commander. So that's what he goes for. With Alakir though, that is 10 and just out of range.
Yeah, there's a nod from Tyler, because you fully expect this, right? You go into that turn saying, well, there's one card that stops me winning, so what do I then do once that card is played? So Tyler will have a game plan, but much of it will rely on this. And
I want to point out though that this damage cutoff is really important because Tyler has already played both Merc Spark Eel, I think, and 1 Fire Elemental. So after this, I think the burst potential is very low from Tyler. So if Cocosasa can just get a bunch of taunts and removal, he can maybe even not necessarily need the lifesteal, but he needs some perfect build of beast.
Yeah. So over for Tyler, there's 1 Fire Elemental.
Oh, there's Knife Jugglers too.
Yeah, and also just Kalimos, because he did just play an Elemental, so if that was brought off the top, Lich King can, you know, get to damage even the turn after, so it's going to be an uphill climb here for Cocosasa.
And he starts the rolls on the beast. None of these are looking particularly good. Halazi, if he had 1 more turn, could have been insane. But a little too slow here. He really wants... Even the poisonous rush would be not enough to get through the Divine Shield of Alakir. I think Tyler's just got this one locked up.
Yeah, we were talking a lot about how do you deal damage from hand to Cocosasa for Tyler to win the game. In the assumption that Cocosasa could even deal with this board for a start, you know, the damage is already there for Tyler, so Cocosasa would not only have to defend against damage from hand, but he also has to, you know, get over the first hurdle here. And these beasts are not good, they kind of just suck.
It is really good knowledge from Tyler. He held back on the Alakir 1 turn and also just played the Flame Tongue preemptively when he knew he had 2 minions on board. It also hedged around Freezing Trap because he could go for Totem attack first. Even though he had Alakir in hand, sometimes it's a little tempting when you see that and you have the Flame Tongue in hand, but he just knew that Cocosasa's best options for defense still couldn't beat the follow-up.
Okay, Tyler, I want Swag Lethal, I want Knife Juggler, play some minions until a juggle just hits face, don't even swing.
He has 4 tries to do it with the Hero Power, the Primal Fin, the Totem, and then the Murloc spawn from that, but yeah, there's...
Okay, shot 1 misses.
Even if one of these misses, he can trade away the healing. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Good job, Tyler. That's what I wanted to see.
He had 4 tries at it. Yeah. Come on.
It was reasonably likely, but it's still kind of cool. And we're just sat here watching the game, never mind playing it. So just a few question marks there, but I think the end result would have been the same. Let's go into game number 2. Tyler 1-0 versus Cocosasa. And now we get to the Hunter mirror match. But are the decks mirrored, G? Are any big differences here?
Going over them, Tyler's got your standard secret package into curving out into the double hero cards. Cocosasa's Hunter, I think, yeah, well, we did see that he has a bit of a stranger secret package. He has Cut, Explosive Trap, he has the one of Freezing, and double Snake, double Venom Strike, double Wandering. So I think he really, really wants to hedge the advantage of having the interaction of Wandering plus Venom Strike and Snake, because
Yep.
you cannot avoid all of those at once. If you're attacking face, well, here you go, you have to run into the Wandering, so that does also activate the Venom Strike and the Snakes.
That's right, and that's where the addition of the Timberwolves in Cocosasa's deck comes in. If you consistently have minions on the board, the Timberwolf buffs them so much that you can gain tons and tons of damage. But so far, Cocosasa stacked with those secrets, but has the Spring Paw and the Hyena too.
This is a hand that is just begging for a Spellstone draw.
Yeah, look at these wins as well for Cocosasa. 6-1 in the Swiss, but beating down players such as Hombi, HCM that we saw a lot of. We saw the Gyroboard game, and also Tonsoku as well, so taking a loss versus him. So very impressive run so far for him.
Definitely. And we saw there that Cocosasa's first secret choice was actually Venom Strike instead of the Wandering Monster, whereas I feel like on an empty board, you'd more naturally play Wandering just because it's going to go off. But I think Cocosasa purposefully wants them both down at the same time. And without a minion on board, you cannot activate the Venom Strike, right?
Yep, and then we see Tyler's run as well, 5-2, not quite as impressive as Cocosasa's, and maybe, you know, a few less star-studded names in there, but still a fantastic run nonetheless. And as we look at Cocosasa's hand, the Dire Frenzy, always scary on most of these Hunter minions, to be honest. Spring Paw because of the rush and the extra minion generation. Hyena just because it starts off bigger and is still only 2 mana. The Razor Maws we saw yesterday, we cast a game where, you know, there was a big victory with just massive Dire Moles, you know, chunking down the health. So, you know, that single card in the form of Dire Frenzy combined with the Master's Call that exists now is so powerful.
That game was fun.
It was just weird.
And fun. Because it wasn't Clone Priest. And this board has a lot of tension on it already because no players know what the secrets are yet. Nobody's running Snipe, so it's not like that has been X'd off from the list of possible secrets. So that's why Cocosasa is hesitant to just attack right away. He doesn't want a Dire Frenzied minion to just be frozen back. That is very, very bad tempo for him.
And that's a little bit frustrating there, just to see the Venom Strikes. It's just a bit awkward with Dire Frenzy, but Dire Frenzy into the Leok, it reduces the damage on board. You still shuffle a very powerful minion into your deck in form of 3 buffed Spring Paws now, which will then generate even more minions, which again, with those Timberwolves for Cocosasa, are going to get some work done late game.
And it was very deliberate ordering for him that he put the generated links to attack first to test for the secret and then put the Dire Frenzy on the Battle Cry minion because you'd much rather have that in deck. Tyler now with a bevy of options, but he also hasn't tested any of the secrets, but he does have more information as to what's possible just because Cocosasa's not running the full package.
Right. It's going to be tough though. The second you misstep here versus these secrets, it can kind of run away with you, but the Kraken Razor Maw and the Hyena just make this pretty powerful. Spring Paws in hand as well that can be played for just a 1 rush minion just to test the water. Very similar to how Cocosasa did last turn.
Right. Tyler first going to check for Wandering exactly because there's no Explosive Trap. Oh, that's a pretty convenient outcome, but that does spawn a Death Rattle, right? That's one of those things that has the on your opponent's turn raise that never really got played.
Jeez, casual shade on those cards. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
you were a cool idea. You didn't make the cut most of the time. It's fine.
I'm so sorry. Maybe they're played in Arena, but I don't really enter that part of Hearthstone.
That domain. Okay, so, you know, decent turn
poison for poison
for Tyler, but this is just still quite vulnerable. This Hyena is just... Oh, he didn't even get the attack off.
I'm not sure if he wanted to. I mean, it just...
It would have made a double trade into the Hyena, though, which was key, right? Because the Hyena would have gone 5. I think that's what he was considering there.
Yeah,
maybe it's just okay with the Death Rattle on the board.
Yeah, actually, it may have been better to just trade there because you just get the plants as well, right?
Yeah, you end up with 2 1/1s, and also it would have buffed the Hyena because this 2/2 should be dead right now.
It could be that he wanted this situation, which still has a beast on board, so now he can crackling this.
That's true.
Or Dire Frenzy as he's drawn it off the top.
I was just thinking, with the links, you could kind of create that scenario regardless, because obviously the Spring Paw's already spawned a links in hand.
It's true. I'm not quite sure about that. Maybe that was a case of roping out. In any case, Tyler has a lot of options. Now, Dire Frenzy plus Divine Shield on this. That would be the dream. Oh, sorry. It won't be quite enough to get through the Hyena in that way. So plus even some attack. In which case, you'd maybe rather try to look for the poisonous and then put the frenzy on the Razormaw instead.
Yeah, or you could just make the decision after, right? Because you're still shuffling the minions into the deck, which means you are going to get buffed Spring Paws. And now the game becomes fair again. Both players have buffed Spring Paws in the deck.
We do love fair games because they're not Clone Priest games. I'm just going to get every chance to take Jab the Toddle in this.
I wasn't a huge fan of playing against Clone Priest. I definitely don't mind casting it at all. but you have a hatred. I didn't expect this.
Okay,
I'm shocked.
I don't hate casting anything except fatigue mirrors, to be sure, because how can you complain about having this job? But honestly, playing against it so much has just made me recoil and cringe when I see the deck.
Okay, well here's some powerful card draw in the form of this Subject 9. Just, yes, it only draws secrets, but it's so powerful for Hunter to get any form of card draw, and now Tyler can just cherry pick which one he wants to have activated now.
Right, and he has Spellstone in hand, so those are actually very insane draws, and he could be curving into Zul'jin after a couple more turns. Although both players have Zul'jin, it seems like Tyler has had more stuff to juice it up with. And he will get to play it first.
Interesting turn of events now, because Deathstalker Rexxar Make a Beast is a completely reasonable play here. It's not what Tyler's, not what Tyler's going to go for. Yeah. He wants to just his 4 wolves on board, but it's nice to have options is my main point here. Like, the Rexxar would have been absolutely fine. You gain the tempo of making the beast this turn for next turn, so you can afford to make a big one too.
I think that he would rather, not just because you have the Spellstone here, even if he didn't have that, I think you would hesitate on the Rexxar because you don't want to be going Rexxar and then Zul'jin because you end up with the inferior hero power in that order. And I think this matchup, when both players have relatively good starts, and we can see Cocosasa also has his Zul'jin, it's really important to go for the value game at some point, and you want that build a beast hero power at the end.
Yeah, I personally think people adhere to that thought too much. They go kind of over the top. Because if you Rexxar, take 2 turns building beats, and then you have to me a Zul'jin turn, as well as a value turn, can also just be a kill turn a lot of the time. And 2 damage actually can be better in an aggressive mirror, because you're consistently dealing the damage there. I'm not saying it's always right, obviously, but I sometimes just don't mind just jamming it, and then Zul'jin's just a powerful, I'm going to refill my secrets, replay Spellstones. Well, if you can clear this and beat me with Builder Beasts, fair enough. Good job, you did something very, very difficult.
Yeah, I think Tyler is going for this early because he sees Cocosasa's hand has been very light. Right. Probably expecting a Zul'jin because he's just not had much to do. Obviously, no Master's Calls draw and no Subject 9. So he's taking this tempo and just going with it. And the Zul'jin can be a kill. As you said, you truly are an RHE.
Thank you. Well, as you see now, imagine if Rexxar comes down from Cocosasa, and even imagine he clears the board, right? So the Rexxar that comes down, the board's clear, that's his full turn. Well, then if you just play Zul'jin, is he really going to build a beast and clear that board all to get no? Well, then he's dead, right? You know, it's just one of those interesting points of the way the matchup can play out sometimes. But this just looks like a lot of damage to me, G, and that kill command's going to finish it up. And Tyler didn't even need to play Zul'jin as the kill command pushed that extra damage. All the beasts on the board. Nice heads-up play, and Tyler goes to it. Another very quick 2-0 lead over Cocosasa, and these matchups are going, coming thick and fast. But that's still where I like Hearthstone.
I was getting
far. Can Odro get it done? Tyler's got that to cue. Cocosasa moving over to his paladin.
I mean, it felt like it was just 2 seconds ago that Cocosasa reverse swept KT's Odd Rogue with this exact lineup, and I think it was the same ban as well, so he could very well do it again. This is a very solid opening hand for Cocosasa. True Silver Champion is so good because it deals with both Hench Clan Plug and Vicious Fledgling. You can see one of those in hand, but there's a Tar Creeper to protect it. That could come in handy for Tyler, although there's no 1-drop.
Yep, a little bit frustrating just Tyler not to really get cooking early on. Cocosasa, of course, with that hero power. But he will want something to be able... Oh, I mean, it's a 1-drop. He got it.
Spells are not drops.
Oh, okay.
Come on.
He dropped the spell on the board, aimed often at a minion. But yeah, this is a little bit unfortunate, as already he's going to start being behind in terms of just how many attacks and how many minions are going to be available for Cocosasa. But Cocosasa also just has Hydrologist, and then no way to bridge the gap at the moment outside of Hero Power Secret. So there is no an additional 2-drop, but looking pretty good so far.
And to put this in context, Odd Rogue struggles against Odd Paladin because even when Odd Rogue has their turn 1, Odd Paladin can just put 2/1/1s on the board. So when you don't have your turn 1 and you're facing off against even Paladin, even though they can only put 1/1/1 on the board, you're still having that same problem, which is where you just can't deal with more than one thing at once.
I got lost in that sentence. It's not your fault, but there was a lot of Odd Paladins even when they do this. 1/1/1s,
Sorry.
1/1/1s, and
Why is English so weird?
Just always get confusing when we talk about odd and even decks. But this Tar Creeper, as you said, has come down now, and it is going to just be at least a bit of a hurdle. So even if it soaks True Silver Championship one swing, that's still okay for Tyler. But still, Cocosasa is looking pretty good as the Acidic Swamp Ooze is picked up now.
Wow.
Now it's going to go with quality, push the 1/1 through.
This
get
is
news down.
Yeah. Maximum tempo for Cocosasa. You know what? I like it. I was looking at perhaps Glass Knight there, just because the Tar Creeper on Tyler's turn won't be able to trade over the 3 health. But this play just makes it so awkward for Tyler once again. And there's still the secret, which is a redemption.
Yeah, and it makes sense overall to me because there are multiple attacks now for Cocosasa, and what he didn't want to have to deal with was he equips True Silver, then Tyler plays like Firefly, Fire Elemental, Flame Elemental, and then, you know, maybe a Diamol, and it's like, well, suddenly this weapon doesn't feel as good because you're taking down 1-drops, but you do need to deal with the multiple attacks.
And now this presents the perfect True Silver target. Cocosasa gets to keep pushing the damage every turn, and now there's 3 minions that Tyler can't deal with. There's some way that Odd Rogue could just tech in Fan of Knives once in a blue moon.
That would be pretty sick. If we were naming cards that would be good this turn that you can play in Odd Rogue, you get full points for that one.
Sure.
Fan of Knives would clean this up, and along with the Dagger equip. Alas, there is no Fan of Knives available. Tyler's going to have to just do his best. He does have some good late game, but relying on trying to stick multiple Vicious Fledglings is going to be a big ask.
Yeah, especially with the True Silver already there. Cocosasa has so many options. You can speed, Tarim, whatever you like. And he just curves out for days. I don't see a way that Tyler gets back into this. And perhaps, wow. Yep, APAC. Love it.
Yeah, and to be honest though, we joke sometimes about either players conceding too early or not early enough, but in all honesty, queuing up the Hunter once again versus Tyler's Odd Rogue. And this opening hand for Tyler, not too great, but what are you mulliganing for against Hunter specifically? Are there any big differences?
Against Hunter, it is a more aggressive matchup, so I wouldn't recommend keeping Vicious Fledgling as you would against things like Control Mage. You definitely just want the 1-drops as usual, Argent Squire and Dire Maul. If you're going second, it is a little bit scary to just play out a Dire Maul into their Dire Maul, because if they get the plus attack adapt on the Razor Maul, well then you're very behind again, but there's not much the Odd Rogue can do about that. I think SI7 Agent is really great on the coin. I'm not sure if you keep Bile Spine, but it could be very useful in this situation.
Tyler's raised eyebrows for a second then as the mulligan came in, and you know, I would say a 50-50 mulligan. The double Vile Spine's unfortunate, but there is coin, and then now especially Firefly, Deckhand, Deadly Poison. That is enough to get you to the coin Vile Spine, potentially to gain the tempo.
And Cocosasa did not have his Dire Maul, so now lest he want to just get his Razor Maul dagger down, and he's just gonna take a backseat and start playing Secrets. Wandering is the best of the deal though, because sometimes you just get King Mukla.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest though, even with, say, Dagger Swing, a lot of the time the 2 health, it's more than 2 health, so it would take a Dagger Swing and the Elemental or the Firefly, which is completely reasonable for just 1 secret being played. The big deal here for Cocosasa is Master's Call ×2 means that as long as he doesn't get rushed down, he will make this long game work for himself.
This hand is very good against maybe other matchups. I'm not quite sure how well it matches up against Odd Rogue because it's very punishing when the Hunter gives it too much time. But who knows? Tyler's hand isn't exactly the fastest either. He does have Cold Blood, but again, he's kind of scared of Wandering Monster. He's not scared of Explosive, again, because Cocosasa is not running it. And I can't believe that we don't know what the mode value for Wandering Monster health is. Oh my gosh! That's just never getting dealt with.
It's actually pretty funny.
Wandering Monster's been around for so long, but I just don't know whether it's more common to see a 3 health or a 2 health minion off of that.
Same.
I would
the
say
Resident
it's
Hunter
3.
expert, I also do not know that. Mainly because just the expansions always keep mixing it up.
Yeah.
I was interested whether Tyler was going to just coin into Cold Blood after seeing that the Wandering Monster was, you know, neutralized, so to speak. But I guess just holding onto the coin with these Foul Spines is so valuable that negating the one big tempo turn that Cocosasa could have is going to be pretty good.
I completely agree. And now, with the only minion for Cocosasa being the egg, he can't simply drop the Venom Strike and be done with it. You would have to drop another minion because Tyler is never dealing with this egg. And then if Cocosasa plays another minion, Tyler doesn't necessarily have to touch that either.
Right. Cocosasa can kind of even up the board here with Springpaw, Timberwolf, Diamole, and then the Lynx. And trade off the 2 threatening minions and just leave a Diamole on Tyler's side of the board. So he's starting to fight back. The only weird thing is, outside of
Vile Spine, the 1/3.
I'm just wondering how if Tyler can ever proc this egg, he'd have to just flank and strike it, right? Or kill command, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cocosasa can proc the egg. Apologies.
I don't think he'll necessarily need to. He has Secret into Spellstone Curve. I don't think he'll be able to use the Razor Maw on any target, but just stalling into Spellstone is not often the worst thing against Odd Rogue. If he got second Master's Call, I think he already got quite a few of the cheaper beasts on the first one, so you might just get very clunky things like Tundra Rhino and not necessarily want to be doing that.
Tyler also now does have a few choices. He could coin out a Vile Spine, and although it might seem weird to kill such a small minion, it would clean up the Diamole and the Wolf, which is something that would be a bit trickier to do if you tried to, say, dagger up Henchclan, which seems like a nice play. I do like this from Tyler. He has a second Vile Spine Slayer, and also this gives him time to dagger up and potentially apply that deadly poison along with the Henchclan Thug next turn.
We can kill command the egg now.
Yay!
And play a secret.
Good turn. Good turn.
I mean, he did just see a coin, so another Vile Spine turn is not possible on 5 mana, but Fungalmancer would be very, very bad in that situation. So I'd like to see Cocosasa hedge for, actually, the more that I look at the kill command egg, okay, you could just play Razor Maw and kill command the Vile Spine. I think that's very reasonable.
Or you could kill command the egg and Razor Maw the 5/5. Taunt or Divine Shield.
Yeah.
It's actually a tough turn, in all honesty. We're kind of joking about certain turns with this egg, but even just play Spellstone and go and just say, okay, I'm just going to put stuff on the board. Even Master's Call just to load up for a progressive next turn. So we are going to see the Venoms.
Is he kill commanding the egg? Is he doing it? Is he doing it? Oh. Yeah, that is completely out of respect for Fungalmancer, right? Because 3 mana generate a 5/5 versus 3 mana deal with a 1/2 seems like a bad option if there were no threat of buffs available.
Yeah, and the issue is as well, if Fungalmancer came down, it negates the power of his Spellstone as well. Not only does it kill him quicker, but Spellstone gets worse.
This egg is just taunting me. He's got 1 health left. Little eye is peeking through. It just can't wait to come out.
No way right now.
Upper would be insane here. Oof. Divine Shield? Even if that's a thing, Tyler is just getting very close to the point where he can just deadly poison Cocosasa down over 2 turns.
Yep, Myra's, Leroy, just anything that pushes damage from hand is going to be pretty big here. And again, there's the second Vile Spine, just getting that tempo. And they're not, you know, you're not Vile Spining a Lich King or anything crazy, but you are gaining time and gaining speed in the game. And already, I think there was just a bit of a look from Cocosasa, like, what does Spellstone do now? Like, nothing. It's even just facing down 7 damage. He can kill off the Argent Squire, but even 6 and then 8 damage just from a dagger.
It's just over.
Just from a dagger. He's nearly dead already.
Yeah, okay, he needs to Master's Call into something and another adapt to give that something taunt. Otherwise, he's just dead to deadly poison. From Cocosasa's perspective, he might feel like he's so far behind that he can't afford to play around deadly poison. I would not fault him for going for some Spellstone play.
Springpaw's always nice, it's flexible, but the combination of minions now, it's just not enough mana. In the early game, you often Master's Call to set up a powerful next turn when you have way more mana available to combine everything. But right now, great, 1 Vile Spine's dead, which is good, don't get me wrong, the Springpaw draw was good, but is it enough? Because there's just already so much damage available. Nope.
Tyler is very soon close to getting another qualification. A possible avenue to Worlds over at the Winter Championship. That is such an impressive performance.
Yep, thumbs up from Tyler. You can do it once, why not do it again? So he's already won his initial match now.